Imagine the serene expanse of the Seaview Towers waterfront complex, where the infinity pool gleams under the perpetual glow of an azure sky, its waters merging seamlessly with the distant yacht harbor, a playground for the elite, where luxury isn't just a word but a lifestyle etched into every polished surface, from the teak lounge chairs embroidered with subtle golden logos to the cascading fountains that whisper promises of exclusivity and tranquility. And there, amidst this opulent backdrop, sits Marcus Johnson, a man whose presence blends so effortlessly with the casual rhythm of the afternoon that one might mistake him for just another resident seeking solace from the world's demands, clad in a simple gray tank top that hugs his athletic frame and black swim trunks that bear no flashy brands. His feet dipped occasionally into the cool water as he delves into the pages of empire building in turbulent times, a tome on strategic business maneuvers that resonates deeply with his own journey from humble beginnings to commanding boardrooms across the tech landscape. His dark skin kissed by the sun, his expression one of focused relaxation, eyes scanning lines about navigating corporate storms with unyielding resolve, oblivious at first to the subtle shifts in the air around him, the way a few nearby sunbathers cast furtive glances, their whispers carried on the gentle breeze like leaves skittering across the deck. Questioning without words who this man might be, does he belong here in this sanctum where entry is guarded not just by gates but by unspoken codes of wealth and appearance? And as Marcus turns a page, marking it with a thoughtful nod, the tranquility fractures with the approach of Patricia Hayes, vice chair of the Amenities Committee, a woman in her mid-40s whose designer sundress flutters with purposeful drama, her tablet clutched like a scepter of authority, her posture radiating the kind of entitled assurance that comes from years of unchallenged privilege in these circles. Accompanied by Derek Ramirez, the security officer, a burly figure in his 30s whose uniform strains against gym-honed muscles, his belt laden with a radio that crackles intermittently, his eyes narrowing with practiced suspicion as they zero in on Marcus, their strides deliberate across the sun-warmed tiles, Patricia's heels clicking like accusations, and without preamble, she halts a few feet away. Her voice slicing through the ambient hum of lapping water and distant seagulls. "Excuse me, sir, but this area is strictly for Seaview Towers residents and their vetted guests. Do you have your access pass or perhaps a resident sponsor, because I've been patrolling these grounds for 2 years now and I don't recall seeing you at any of the committee meetings or social mixers," her words laced with a veneer of politeness that barely masks the underlying disdain. Her blue eyes scanning him from head to toe, lingering on the absence of luxury accessories, no Rolex glinting on his wrist, no branded towel draped over his chair, just a plain water bottle, and the book that now rests on his lap as he looks up with mild surprise. His calm gaze meeting hers without flinching. And Derek chimes in, adjusting his cap with a nod. "Yeah, ma'am's right. We've got protocols here to keep things secure. Mind showing some ID or maybe your unit number?" His hand hovering near the radio as if ready to summon reinforcements at the slightest provocation. The air thickening with tension as Marcus tilts his head slightly, his voice steady and measured, like someone accustomed to diffusing high-stakes negotiations. "I'm sorry there's been a misunderstanding, but I assure you I have every right to be here. Perhaps you could clarify which specific rule I'm allegedly violating." His response neither defensive nor aggressive, but probing, inviting them to reveal the flimsiness of their claims, and Patricia taps her tablet screen with manicured nails, pulling up what looks like a digital registry. "Well, for starters, our bylaws clearly state that all pool usage requires pre-registration via the resident app to avoid overcrowding and maintain standards. And looking at this, I see no entry under any common names today," her tone smug as if she's caught him in a lie, while Derek nods vigorously, adding that they've had issues with unauthorized visitors lately, folks trying to sneak in from the public beach access nearby, and as this exchange unfolds, a small crowd begins to form at the periphery, the Ellis family pausing their game of cards on a nearby cabana, Mrs. Ellis peering over her sunglasses with curiosity, her husband murmuring something about calling management if things get out of hand. And retiree Mr. Vaughn, a fixture at the pool with his daily laps, stops mid-stroke to tread water and watch, his wrinkled face creased with intrigue, the whispers growing like ripples in the pool. "Did you hear that? He doesn't have a pass." Probably thought he could just waltz in. And Marcus senses the shift, the way eyes multiply on him, but he remains composed, his fingers drumming lightly on the book's cover, a subtle tell of calculation rather than impatience, and inside his mind flashes memories of similar encounters throughout his life. From being followed in upscale stores during his early entrepreneurial days, when Johnson Enterprises was just a startup in a garage, to boardroom skepticism, where his innovative pitches were dismissed until proven with irrefutable data, these microaggressions a constant undercurrent in his ascent to millionaire status. Yet here in this space, he helped create anonymously through his company's development arm. The irony stings but fuels his resolve to handle this with grace. And as Patricia presses on, her voice rising half an octave, "Sir, if you can't produce proper documentation, we'll have to escort you out. This isn't a public park. It's a premium amenity for those who contribute to our community values." Derek keys his radio. "Control, this is Ramirez. At the waterfront pool. Possible unauthorized individual, requesting verification on a male in gray tank and black trunks, no visible ID." The static response crackling back affirmative 7 holding for details. And Marcus finally reaches into his swim bag, extracting his smartphone with deliberate slowness to avoid alarming them. "Excuse me, I'll just check something myself." His fingers flying across the screen as he texts his assistant for background verification on these protocols, a discreet move that sets wheels in motion without tipping his hand. And the crowd swells slightly more, a young couple from the lower floors debating in hushed tones whether to intervene or mind their business, the wife saying it's probably nothing but the husband replying better safe than sorry with all the break-ins in the news lately, though there haven't been any, and Mr. Vaughn hauls himself out of the pool, wrapping a towel around his waist as he ambles closer. "What's the fuss about Patty? You scaring off another guest?" His folksy tone attempting levity, but Patricia shoots him a glare. "This is committee business, Vaughn. Stay out of it unless you want to join the next violation hearing." And Marcus overhears this, noting the power dynamics at play, how authority is wielded like a club in these insulated worlds. And he speaks up again. "If I may ask, how do you typically verify residents? Do you stop everyone, or just those who don't fit a certain profile?" His question landing like a pebble in still water, causing ripples of uncomfortable glances among the onlookers. Patricia, flushing slightly as she stammers, "Well, it's based on familiarity and compliance. We've got a system," and Derek interjects, "Yeah, if you're known, you're good, but newcomers get checked. Standard procedure," though Marcus knows from his own oversight of the development that no such discriminatory system was ever approved, the bylaws emphasizing equal access for all owners, and as the sun beats down, warming the deck further, the tension simmers, Patricia making notes on her tablet, perhaps drafting an incident report, Derek's radio buzzing with updates from control, no hits on visual description, yet proceed with caution, and the Ellis kids peek from behind their parents' legs, wide-eyed at the unfolding drama. Mrs. Ellis shushing them while filming discreetly on her phone just in case it escalates, the harbor beyond providing a mocking contrast with its carefree yachts bobbing freely. And Marcus decides to probe deeper, pulling up the resident app on his phone, which he rarely uses since his penthouse access is hard-coded. "I see here that registration is optional for off-peak hours like now. Perhaps you've misread the updates." His calm assertion flustering Patricia, who snatches her tablet closer. "No, sir. It's mandatory now per last quarter's vote, which you wouldn't know if you're not a resident." Her implication clear that he doesn't belong in this echelon, and the whispers intensify, someone murmuring he looks suspicious anyway, why take chances? Another countering maybe he's a guest but forgot his pass. The division in the crowd mirroring broader societal fractures, and Marcus feels the weight of it all. Not anger, but a weary familiarity with being othered. His success in building Johnson Enterprises, a tech empire revolutionizing sustainable energy solutions, never quite erasing the presumptions tied to his appearance, and as Derek steps forward, hand on his belt. "Sir, I'm going to need you to gather your things and come with me to the office for proper vetting." Marcus nods slowly. "Very well, but first let me make a quick call to clarify." Dialing his assistant openly now, his voice carrying, "Hey, Lisa, I need you to pull the full bylaws for Seaview Towers, specifically pool access rules. Yeah, put it on speaker if you can." The line connecting with a beep as Lisa's efficient tone responds, "Right away, Mr." Johnson scanning now, and Patricia's eyes narrow. "Who's Lisa, your lawyer or something? Because that won't help with trespassing." Derek echoing, "Ma'am's got a point, this is internal." But Marcus holds up a hand politely, "Just verifying facts here, no need for escalation." And the crowd leans in, collectively, breath held as Lisa reads aloud from the document. Article 7, Section 2 states, "Access is granted to all verified owners and guests without mandatory pre-registration, except during events. Voluntary sign-up encouraged for peak times only." The words hanging in the air like a challenge. Patricia sputtering, "But that's outdated. We've amended it verbally at the last meeting." Though everyone knows verbal amendments aren't binding. And Derek looks uncertain, radioing control again for confirmation. The response hesitant, "Standby 7, we're double-checking." And Mr. Vaughn chuckles from the sidelines, "Told you, Patty, you're jumping the gun again like that time with the delivery guy." But Patricia whirls on him, "This is different. He doesn't even look like he lives here." Her slip revealing the bias raw and unfiltered. The crowd murmuring in mixed reactions, some nodding agreement, others shifting uncomfortably. The young couple finally speaking up, "Hey, maybe we should all calm down and let management sort it." But their voices drown in the growing hubbub, and Marcus ends the call with, "Lisa, thanks, that'll do for now." Pocketing his phone as he stands slowly, his height commanding respect even in casual attire. "Now perhaps we can discuss this reasonably, or would you prefer to involve higher authorities?" His words a veiled hint at his own position. Patricia crossing her arms defiantly, "No, sir, the committee is the authority here, and until you prove otherwise, you're disrupting our peaceful afternoon." Derek nodding, though less confidently. The radio crackling with urgency. 7, we've got incoming from Board Pres Lang. He's en route to the pool, says there's a situation brewing." And the mention of Victor Lang sends a ripple through the crowd. The real estate mogul known for his iron fist in community affairs, his arrival imminent like storm clouds on the horizon, the harbor winds picking up as if nature itself anticipates the clash. Marcus resuming his seat with a sigh, book in hand but unread now, his mind racing through strategies honed in corporate battles. Knowing this is just the beginning of turning the tables on assumptions that have no place in the world he built, the sun dipping slightly, casting longer shadows across the deck, where entitlement meets its match in quiet power. As the whispers around the Seaview Towers pool deck morphed into a low hum of speculation, like bees swarming a threatened hive, the psychological undercurrents began to surface in ways that exposed the fragile veneer of civility in this enclave of privilege, where every sidelong glance and murmured comment fed into a collective narrative of suspicion. Marcus Johnson sitting steadfast on his lounge chair, books set aside now as a prop in this unfolding theater of bias, his mind dissecting the scene like a chessboard where each move revealed more about his opponents than himself, the crowd having doubled in size with curious residents drifting in from the shaded cabanas and upper-floor balconies, their phones emerging like weapons in a digital age, capturing snippets that could ignite reputations or douse them in infamy. And there at the forefront stood Patricia Hayes, her tablet now angled to record the exchange, her voice amplifying for the benefit of the growing audience. "Sir, you've had ample time to comply, and yet here we are with no proof of your claims. Perhaps you could enlighten us on your unit number, or better yet, your annual dues payment status, because maintaining this waterfront paradise doesn't come cheap." Her words dripping with insinuation, implying not just trespass but a deeper unworthiness. Derek Ramirez flanking her with crossed arms, his radio clipped to his belt, emitting sporadic bursts of static that heightened the drama. "Control, we've got," A developing situation here. Multiple residents involved requesting guidance on escalation protocols. The response crackling back, 7 hold position board Pres Lang is 2 minutes out, he'll take point. And as if summoned by the mentioned Victor Lang strode onto the deck like a conqueror claiming territory, a man in his late 50s whose tailored polo and khakis screamed old money from family real estate empires. His silver hair slicked back with the confidence of someone who had lobbied city councils for zoning favors, his eyes locking onto Marcus with the predatory focus of a shark sensing blood. "What's this I hear about an intruder disrupting our amenities?" "Patricia, fill me in," his baritone voice carrying authority that silenced the murmurs temporarily, Patricia beaming at the reinforcement as she replayed her tablet footage for him. "This gentleman refuses to provide identification or registration. He's claiming residency, but can't back it up. And frankly, Victor, he's making everyone uneasy. Look at the families packing up already," pointing to where the Ellis kids were being herded away by their parents. Mrs. Ellis whispering about stranger protocols while filming from a safe distance, and Victor nodded gravely, stepping closer to Marcus, his shadow falling across the lounge chair like a judgment. "Young man, I've chaired this board for 4 terms now, and I know every face in these towers from the entry-level condos to the sky suites. So tell me straight, what brings you here unannounced and unverified?" His question laced with a paternalistic edge that belied the aggression beneath, Marcus meeting his gaze evenly, his response calibrated to expose the hypocrisy without raising his voice. "Interesting that you assume unfamiliarity equals intrusion. I've observed several people arrive since I sat down. None were questioned. Perhaps you could explain the criteria for who gets vetted and who doesn't." His words slicing through the pretense, causing Victor to bristle. "That's not the point, son. The point is rules apply equally. But enforcement starts with anomalies, and you fit the bill. No offense, but we protect our investments here." The "no offense," a hollow shield for the bias now laid bare, and the crowd reacted in waves, some nodding vigorously, like Mr. Vaughn, who chimed in, "Yeah, Victor's right, we've paid top dollar for security, not charity access." Others exchanging uneasy looks, such as the young couple nearby, she, a graphic designer named Mia, tugging at her boyfriend Alex's arm, whispering, "This feels off. Why are they grilling him like a criminal? He hasn't done anything wrong." Alex hesitating, caught between conformity and conscience, replying, "Babe, it's not our fight, let's just watch and see," their internal debate mirroring the broader groupthink where silence equaled complicity. The maintenance staff hovering at the edges, 2 gardeners pausing their hedge trimming to observe, one muttering in Spanish about how this happens too often to folks who don't match the brochure, the other shushing him for fear of reprisal, their sidelined perspectives adding layers to the scene's inequality, and Patricia, seizing the moment, opened the resident's private app, initiating a live stream to the community channel, framing it as a real-time security alert for transparency's sake, her narration performative and accusatory. "Fellow Sea viewers, this is Patricia Hayes reporting from the waterfront pool, where an unauthorized individual is challenging our standards despite repeated requests for compliance. He's opting for defiance, which, as you know, threatens our exclusive lifestyle." The stream pinging notifications across hundreds of devices, pulling virtual spectators into the fray, comments flooding in almost instantly. Things like, "Good job, Pat, keep our space safe," mixed with, "Wait, is this fair play and even looks like profiling to me, unsubscribe." The digital echo chamber amplifying the division, Derek's radio escalating in tandem 7, "We've got live feed going, potential for wider exposure, advise on involving authorities, control affirming copy, that if non-compliance persists, call in local PD for trespass removal." The threat of police hanging like a storm cloud over the Azure pool, and Marcus, undeterred, reached for his phone again, texting his team for incident logs on past pool enforcements, his fingers swift as he pulled up archived emails from the development phase, where he had insisted on non-discriminatory policies, quoting aloud from memory while pretending to read from the screen. Section 4 of the Covenants emphasizes equitable treatment for all members. Without regard to appearance or familiarity, Perhaps you've overlooked that in your verbal amendments. Patricia scoffing, verbal or not, the spirit of the rules is clear. We don't allow just anyone to dilute our community vibe. Victor jumping in with a laugh that didn't reach his eyes. Dilute is right. We've got property values to consider. Folks like you wandering in could tank resale prices overnight. His folks like you, a loaded phrase that drew gasps from Mia, who finally spoke up. Hey, that's crossing a line. You don't even know him. But her protest was drowned by supportive claps from the majority, the groupthink solidifying into a wall of consensus where dissent felt like betrayal. Alex pulling her back, "Shh, Mia, don't get us blacklisted from events." Their reluctance emblematic of how fear perpetuated the cycle, the maintenance duo exchanging glances, one whispering "vamos" before slipping away to avoid association, and as the stream's viewer count climbed past 50 with shares rippling outward, Marcus strategically delayed any revelation, opting instead to turn the mirror on them by asking Victor directly, "How many times have you personally been asked for ID here?" The question prompting a stuttered response, "Well, never, but that's because I'm known, I'm invested, I've hosted fundraisers in the clubhouse." Marcus nodding sagely, "So recognition trumps rules, then it's not about policy, it's about perception." The logic landing like punches in a debate, causing Victor to flush and redirect. "Enough games show us your income verification or something to prove you can afford the lifestyle. Here dues are north of $3,000 monthly, not including specials." The invasive demand crossing into personal territory, drawing more murmurs even from supporters. Mr. Vaughn frowning, "Maybe that's too far, Vic." But Patricia encouraged it. "Yes, exactly. If he can't discuss finances, he probably can't meet them." Her stream capturing the escalation for posterity or peril, comments now polarizing with some demanding eviction, others questioning the ethics. The harbor's yachts in the distance sailing obliviously as the deck became a pressure cooker, Derek keying his radio once more, 7 situation heating up, subject argumentative, requesting backup unit, control dispatching 8 ETA 3 minutes, the impending arrival adding urgency, and Marcus, sensing the tipping point, placed a call to his CFO, Elena, his voice on speaker for all to hear. "Elena, I need you to review our holdings in Seaview Towers, specifically any ties to board members or security contracts." The line connecting with Elena's crisp reply, "Right away, Mr. Johnson." Pulling files, "Now looks like we have indirect stakes through the development fund and some vendor overlaps." Her use of his title, a subtle hint that rippled through the crowd, causing Patricia's tablet to waver slightly. "Who's Elena, your fixer or something, because contracts are ironclad here." Victor smirking, "Yeah, kid, calling reinforcements won't change facts, you're out of your depth." But the seed of doubt was planted, as Mia whispered to Alex, "See, he's got pull, this might backfire." The groupthink cracking at the edges with anonymous shouts from the back, like "Let him swim," already juxtaposed against "Get him out." The psychological warfare peaking as Marcus hung up with a calm "Thank you, Elena," that helps immensely, leaving the antagonists flustered and the spectators hooked on the drama's next twist. The infinity pool's waters rippling with the wind, as if echoing the turbulent undercurrents of human nature exposed in full daylight. As the veil of assumptions finally tore asunder on the Seaview Towers pool deck, where the once hostile crowd now stood in a stunned tableau like statues caught in a sudden freeze, Marcus Johnson rose to his full stature with the quiet authority of a conductor silencing an orchestra mid-crescendo, his smartphone transforming from a mere device into a portal of truth as he swiped to reveal digital deeds and architectural blueprints glowing on the screen. "Here, gentlemen and ladies, is the founding charter for Seaview Towers, dated from the groundbreaking phase when my company Johnson Enterprises anonymously fronted the entire project through a development trust to ensure unbiased community growth," his voice steady like the harbor's tidal rhythm carrying across the now hushed assembly. The infinity pool's waters still rippling gently, as if oblivious to the seismic shift, and Victor Lang's face drained of color, his tailored polo suddenly seeming ill-fitted as he stammered, "But that can't be the anonymous investor was rumored to be some overseas consortium, not you." Patricia Hayes' tablet slipping from her grasp to clatter on the tiles, her live stream still broadcasting the revelation to an exploding audience. now surging past hundreds, with shares cascading like dominoes into public forums. Derek Ramirez's radio erupting in frantic chatter control abort backup stand down. We've ID'd the subject as primary stakeholder repeat primary stakeholder, the words echoing like a verdict, and Marcus continued unfazed, pulling up annotated plans highlighting his personal touches, such as the eco-friendly filtration system that recycled harbor-adjacent water with zero environmental impact, a $1.5 million upgrade I insisted on to promote sustainability and luxury living, or the shaded pergolas designed for family gatherings because I envisioned this as a haven for connection, not division, the irony now palpable as the crowd processed the bombshell. Some residents like Mia stepping forward with wide eyes, "Oh my God, you're the reason we have the solar-powered loungers and the app-integrated concierge," her boyfriend Alex nodding mutely, his earlier hesitation morphing into awe, while others like Mr. Vaughn shuffled back, muttering, "Well, I'll be damned, never figured the big boss would blend in like that." The maintenance staff re-emerging from the shadows with knowing smiles, one whispering finally the truth comes out, and Victor's phone buzzed incessantly with notifications from his network alerts about severed ties. Johnson Enterprises has flagged your firm for values, misalignment contracts, terminated effective immediately annual revenue hit, estimated at 7 figures, his empire crumbling in real time as he clutched the device like a lifeline gone slack. Pleading, "Mr. Johnson, surely we can discuss this. It was a misunderstanding based on protocols." But Marcus shook his head, "Not protocols. Victor prejudices the kind that selectively enforce rules and erode trust in spaces meant for all." Patricia, facing her own reckoning as board texts flooded an emergency vote called "Your position vacated due to conduct unbecoming viral footage," has damaged our image, resign quietly or face expulsion. Her stream now a boomerang of backlash, with comments flipping from support to condemnation. This is textbook discrimination. How blind can you be to harass the owner? Viewer count skyrocketing into thousands as local media picked up the thread, trending under hashtags like #pool prejudice and #hidden bias exposed, news outlets dispatching reporters with headlines brewing about systemic flaws in elite enclaves, Derek suspended on the spot by his supervisor via radio, but Marcus intervening, "Hold on, Captain. This isn't about punitive firing. It's about corrective learning, mandate bias, training for your whole team, and I'll fund it through my foundation because redemption beats retribution every time." The guard's shoulders slumping in relief mixed with shame. "Sir, I just followed the cues I saw." "Exactly," Marcus replied. "Those cues are the problem rooted in assumptions that poison communities from within, and as the deck cleared of the dispersing crowd, some slinking away with downcast eyes, others lingering to offer halting apologies like Mia, who approached saying, 'I should have spoken up louder, I'm sorry for staying silent.' Marcus nodding graciously, 'Silence is the enabler, but awareness is the antidote. Use this as your pivot point.' The broader impacts rippling outward like waves from a dropped stone, with community reforms igniting overnight petitions, circulating for policy audits and diversity workshops led by external experts, Johnson Enterprises issuing a statement committing to on-site inclusivity audits for all properties, emphasizing that luxury should elevate humanity, not stratify it. Marcus alone now by the pool's edge, as the sun arced lower, painting the harbor in amber hues, reflecting on his journey not as vengeance, but as a catalyst for growth, recalling his startup days bootstrapping sustainable tech solutions in a rented warehouse where investors dismissed him based on zip codes and skin tones. Yet he persevered, building an empire, valued in billions through innovations like carbon capture apps that powered cities greener, philanthropy weaving through it all, from scholarships for underrepresented youth to urban renewal, projects that transformed blighted areas into thriving hubs. This incident a microcosm of larger battles where power wasn't about flaunting wealth but forging equity, and he scrolled through messages from allies and strangers alike, reporters seeking interviews on corporate responsibility, community leaders pledging alliances for anti-bias initiatives, even his mentee from the inner-city program. Texting boss saw the clip. "You're a legend for handling it with class. Teach me that poise." Responding with encouragement, real poise comes from purpose, not position, chase, impact over accolades. The empty deck now, a canvas for introspection. The pergolas casting long shadows like fingers, pointing to forgotten corners of prejudice. Marcus envisioning forward steps like mandatory allyship training integrated into resident orientations or anonymous reporting apps for microaggressions because building structures was easy but cultivating cultures demanded vigilance. The harbor's yachts docking as evening approached, symbolizing returns to safe havens, yet reminding that true safety lay in mutual respect, not gated barriers, and turning to hypothetical horizons, he pondered what-if scenarios urging invisible readers to self-examine in workplaces where colleagues are overlooked for promotions due to unspoken biases or public spaces where service is withheld. Based on appearances intervene, not as heroes, but as humans question the narrative before it hardens into harm. Become the disruptor who asks, is this just or merely convenient? For in the end, turning tables isn't about flipping power dynamics, but aligning them with justice, where every individual, regardless of facade, claims their seat at the pool of opportunity, the story closing not with finality but invitation, be the change that renders such revelations. Unnecessary foster worlds, where belonging is assumed and dignity distributed freely, the gentle lap of water against the infinity edge, a soothing coda to a day that transformed confrontation into collective evolution.